Ever since the dawn of humankind, we've sought the origins of our life and its purpose. Some have chosen to look to science, religion, or philosophy for answers. Many have turned to the great masters such as Lao Tzu, the Buddha, and Jesus Christ for spiritual illumination. Still others have sought truth through their own direct experience. All of us are searching, knowingly or unknowingly, for enlightenment, truth, and harmony in our lives. This program, hosted by Dr. Gregory Penn, will help you aspire to a more fulfilling and rewarding life.
Welcome back to Aspire Unplugged. In this particular show, we're going to talk about, my ministerial trip. How about that? We want to talk about that a little bit?
That sounds great.
All right. What do you want to know?
I want to know, well, as we talked in the last episode, you kind of went on a spiritual quest, and you went and saw spiritual masters, and you came back.
Right.
And I want to know what then caused you, or even before you left, what caused you to want to be a minister? And go ahead.
Well, I think the thing that did it was Ben-Hur. Seeing that I knew, I felt my calling. And the reason I grew up in Unity, since I was a little kid, and went back for youth meetings and all of that, back to Missouri. And my interpretation of Unity, which I was taught from Unity ministers, was it was open-ended. Okay? And I liked that. I thought that was a very beautiful thing. Remember, it was back at Unity that I got the books on spiritual masters of the East and Gurdjieff and Ouspensky and things like that. So I assumed, making an ass of myself, that we could be open-ended, and I could bring in the teachings of, let's say, Richard Bach for Jonathan Seagull. I could bring in the teachings of Buddha and Jesus and show how they were one, and Lao Tzu and the Tao Te Ching, and show this oneness. That's what, but no, that didn't work. No, my colleagues hate me. I'm sure they're watching this going, I hated that guy. That makes them a good Unity minister, throwing darts at me.
You were upsetting the apple cart.
Oh, but I didn't mean to. That was not my intent.
Huh.
My intent was to be open-ended. Let's be at one with the all, but that's not the way it worked. Ministers are petty, jealous people. They are.
All right, well, speaking of ministers, let's take a look at a couple of slides, and you can...
Oh, there I am at my doctorate. That's Cherry Parker, who was not a religious science of mind minister, something like that. He was there for my doctorate. So, that was a very important moment.
What was your doctorate on?
Doctor of Divinity.
No. What was your thesis?
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Reincarnation.
Oh.
I turned it into a book. Reincarnation, the same old brand new you.
Really?
Yeah. And that was my thesis.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you said that he wrote the book, or you wrote the book?
I wrote the book.
You wrote the book. Okay.
Yeah, he turned it into I wrote this thesis, he turned it into a book. He liked it so much.
Oh, okay. All right.
It was a crummy book.
Well, while we're on that subject, do you believe in reincarnation?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
No doubt.
Okay. How about this?
Oh, there's graduation. That we started off with 100, and that's what we got down to. That group right there, and I'm the one on the far left with the red hair.
Yep.
And that I'll never forget. That was blazing 90-degree heat, and there we were. And I was. No one knew that little guy over there at the end. Of course, all these people are basically dead except a couple of them. That I was going to go to India.
They all look like they're your mom and dad's age.
Those are used car salesmen, insurance salesmen, frustrated housewives, and grandmothers.
Okay.
I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
And I'm standing there going, what am I doing with these people?
Oh.
Very close-minded. Very, very, very loyal.
And who's the guy?
Oh, that's Bill Humboldt. He was the minister in Santa Barbara that I grew up with.
Okay.
And he was, bless his heart, he was going to take me in and, make a minister out of me.
Uh-oh.
I was only 21 there.
That's amazing.
So, yeah, I didn't have a lot of experience at anything except, being Greg. So I loved Bill. Bill was, if he hadn't been married to the woman he was married to, he would have made a very interesting human being. He was married to Spring Byington's daughter.
I don't know who that is.
You don't know? It's yeah,
No.
It's too young. Spring Byington did Little Women in the 40s. She was an actress.
Oh, okay.
Very arrogant.
Okay.
I met her and very, very. Anyway, her daughter married him, or he married her.
Okay.
And Lois was not popular
Okay.
at any level.
Right.
But he loved her, and if I have one thing, I wish I had been maybe a better associate for him. I just couldn't handle what he had to do to earn a living.
Right.
You want to know what he had to do? You want to hear this, or should we move on?
Sure. Now you've piqued my interest.
Yeah. Well, this is what ministers have to do, and this is why I didn't want to. So there was this chapel, and we needed pews for this chapel. It's a wedding chapel, and basically, bottom line is, he sold them 4 or 5 times over. He made, you could make a donation for a pew.
Oh.
He sold them 4 or 5 times over.
Oh.
And I looked at him, and when I found out, I confronted him, and he said, I'll tell you what, after Sunday morning and everybody takes a collection, I want you to come back here and count the money. There was probably 200 people there.
Yeah.
It was exactly $200.
Okay.
And he said, how are we going to pay your salary, my salary, and the off of that?
Huh.
He was right.
Yeah.
And so I started to realize, there's no future here. For if you're going to go down, you should go down for noble causes, not, financial.
Okay. So did he let you come off the bench then and actually?
No.
Lead a-
He shipped me out to Decatur, Illinois.
Oh, okay.
And that was terrible. But then I came back after 18 miserable months in Decatur.
Yeah.
And it was very, very difficult because they're Midwestern, they're very close-minded, and they
Yeah.
I mean they're eating bad food, and it was really bad. So then as I look at this, I get a kick out of it because the pictures to the upper left are me doing my second radio. I started a radio program in Decatur and then brought it to Escondido, and that's me doing radio there. And then the bottom picture is at my my doctorate.
Okay.
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 So
Very good. And then you wound up in Escondido.
yeah, and there's Escondido.
And how did you get to be the guy that ran the Escondido Unity Center?
I don't know, Karma. It was really a blessing, to be honest with you. They were very kind to me and took me. I tried out. They liked me, and I had to wear a suit.
Okay. Yeah.
Noticed me in a suit.
Yeah, I can't remember a time I ever saw you in person with a tie like that.
But the funny thing was, I remember the first time I was there, and I'm standing there at the pulpit and giving my discourse, and there's all these flies in the room, just going back and forth. They had no air conditioning. Escondido was very warm.
Yeah.
The all of the pews were like stained, in the back, from people sitting. And I went, holy God, I've got to, remodel it. And so what you see there is the remodel.
Uh-huh.
And that took a Herculean effort to do in the day, but we got it done, and that was it.
Okay, so as a minister, just give me a brief synopsis of what it is that you do if you're not double selling, triple selling the pews.
Boy, I don't know. I guess you get up, you say a lot of things that people like to hear. Like you're all wonderful and God loves you and good things are going to happen to you, and put in some money for making you feel good. And by the way, Cookies Sunday's the first Sunday of the month, and everybody comes in and gets cookies, and that was always the big time. We had a full house then, and
But you weren't talking radical stuff like meditation and stuff here at this time, were you?
oh no, I did come out in Escondido. Like I came out.
Okay.
But no, those pictures are me. I'm on the line. I was always on the line.
Yeah.
And I didn't teach like normal ministers. I had in that day, today they have them everywhere, I'm sure, but I had this great big screen that would come down. And then I would have a projector with my notes showing people what I was going to talk about and that's how I did it.
Okay.
It was more of a classroom experience than a
sermon.
A sermon.
Yeah.
And that went over well for a while, and then I had to come out.
Okay.
It just came out of my mouth.
And then you started doing sermons like that. I don't know if you call them sermons, but
No.
So you started giving discourse
Yeah.
that was giving more of these ideas.
A sermon is a speech on conduct and duty.
Oh.
That's how it's defined.
Okay.
I did not do that. I was talking about the way
Fantastic.
and about how to achieve consciousness. And there were a lot of barriers.
I'm sure.
And a lot of people didn't like me. I went through at least 3 or 4 different congregations.
Whole congregations turned over.
Whole congregation. Until I got this gigantic one.
Yeah.
I mean, you remember.
I
right?
do.
It was gigantic.
It was amazing.
Yeah. And then I thought, I don't want to do that anymore. You can't get anything done with large groups of people. And when the masses come and see you, you know you're teaching BS. You just know, because that's all they can hear.
Uh-huh.
And they're attracted either to how you look. Most churches have a very attractive speaker, minister, and that's how they get people in, because, oh, I want to be just like her, or I want to be just like him, and they fall in love with them, and they do all sorts of weird stuff. And I didn't want to be a part of any of that.
Yeah, I used to direct Terry Cole Whitaker shows back in the day, and Sharon Stroud and a lot of these sorts of folks, and there was some weird stuff.
Oh yeah, they're all thinking, I wanna marry her, I want to have sex with them, or something like that, or why can't you look at your wife? Why can't you look like that, kind of thing? So I decided one Easter Sunday to tell it like it is, and I did.
Just didn't pull any punches.
No, it came out. I remember that we were at the Lyceum Theater, and I came out that Easter morning in a coffin. They rolled me out in a coffin and opened it up, and it was
That's cool.
And that was symbolic of what I was going to do.
Yeah, I dig it. So tell me now about how you transitioned from the congregation up there and then folding in Aspire too, and tell me about this gentleman on the left.
Alan Kojanan was my dearest boyhood friend. I wanted, when I was a little boy, to be just like him. I loved his mother, adored her. She understood me, as my mother didn't, but his mother did. And Alan and I have been close friends since I was 10 years old.
Huh.
And I'm 71, so do the math.
That's great.
I know.
That's a long time.
I know. He's wonderful. And then there we are at the Emmys.
Yep.
You, me, Alan, the beloved, and one of my students.
That's right.
Yeah.
And another key benefactor in those days was Violet, right?
Yeah. Alan and Violet were the key beneficiaries of us.
Benefactors.
Benefactors. That's a better word. Thank you. And, Alan still is.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And then so then the show started actually being recorded at
There's the center.
the center.
Yeah. You should have seen it before. But yeah, there we are.
And so what was the difference between having a congregation and a television following congregation?
That's interesting. They started to merge. And then I started getting death threats. And then people would come out on Sunday morning after discourse, and their cars, they had poked holes in the tires, removed the tires, and
Good grief.
put leaflets in that I was the devil.
That's so crazy.
No, well,
They're
yeah.
so threatened by.
God bless America.
Ah.
Yeah, it's America. And so I decided I'm not getting anything done this way. I was teaching, but I wasn't getting anything done. The only way you get anything done with people is you got to get down and intimate with them and in the dirt. And I decided I'm going to quit this gig, and I did everything I could to reduce the congregation, everything, and see what core I had there. And then all that time I was doing that, I was planning on moving up to Monterey, and that's what I did.
Okay.
Get away from them.
Well, here's a question from a student,
Okay.
and I'm going to show you a clip. The question is, doesn't a congregation, a unity, center of Escondido, or any kind of group where everybody comes together like that, doesn't that constitute some kind of religion?
Okay,
Here goes.
run the clip.
Knowledge means nothing. Love is everything. Do you think Buddha was a Buddhist? Do you think he wanted a Buddhism? Do you think he wanted lamas running around and the Dalai's lamas running around teaching, promoting a religion? It's become a religion. It isn't what it truly was. It's become a religion. And when you're in a religion, you're in a doctrine, you're in a mind, you're in a theory, then it becomes open for everybody and rules have to be made. And before you know it, you're shaving your head, you're wearing the ochre robe, and you're doing all the things that Buddhists do. But are you a Buddhist? And is your temple the best one because it's the one with the most painting all over it or the gold leaf all over it? And do you walk around with your mullah around your neck telling people, oh, look, I'm a Buddhist, I'm special? These are the kind of things that take the spirit out of the meaning of someone like Buddha.
Ouch.
There you go.
I'm really glad I said all that. If a teacher is a teacher, I don't teach a doctrine. That makes the congregation. I don't make rules up. I tell them what will get them to the quickest way to awaken and how to build a steadfast practice in that. But what I said there, I totally agree with. Do you really think Buddha wanted Buddhism? He actually said, if you incorporate women in Buddhism, in the teachings, it will be destroyed within 500 years.
Huh.
Well, you can imagine why.
Why? Distraction? What?
Well, distraction, and wherever there's a problem, there's always, at the core of it, some woman complaining about this or gossiping about that. And I've seen it 100 million times. What my job was and is to, if I can talk you out of being a student, then I've succeeded. and I work at that. I work at, you're not going to make it. You don't have the stuff inside to do this.
Yeah.
And I'm very blunt about it. If I didn't, and if I saw it in a person and I didn't say it, I'd be leading them on. I'd be a minister.
Right.
That's what ministers do. They make
Okay.
people feel like they are what they're not.
I see.
And I don't do that. So I'm very blunt. I say, okay, well, you can start here, work on yourself, but you're not going to be authentic until you get here.
Right.
And that makes, what I love about my group is it's small, 40, 50 people. I like it that small. I like it even smaller because I can be intimate with my students and
Yeah.
really help them.
That makes sense.
And if you're easily insulted, you don't belong in you can't be in a practice.
Right.
You're going to get insulted. And that's why Jesus said, blessed is he who's not insulted in me. And Buddha talked about it. I love what he talked about in the Dhammapada. He said, listen to the man who chastens you, who pushes you. He said, that's the one to follow. And then he said, in the same discourse, the world will hate him, but true followers love him.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at. True followers will love me. And it isn't Greg, of course. It's what we're teaching. It's that oneness that we find in our group and the Rasha, the energy of all of that. But basically, people want to hear what they want to hear, and they want to be popular. Ministers are narcissists, if you haven't noticed. And a lot of Unity ministers that I knew were narcissists. And they didn't care about what they taught that would help someone. They cared about what they said that would get a reaction from the congregation and make them money. That's what it was all about.
Right. Okay, so
That's hard stuff I just gave you.
that is hard stuff.
Nobody will talk
and
about
I've seen
that.
You're a master at pushing people,
Yeah.
like you say, and you give them tough love, but it's just to jerk them out of their complacency. I think is also what you're doing. I could be totally wrong, but I also see you being so loving, 10 seconds later, and being one again,
Yeah. Yeah, I hear what you're saying about the tough love. I think everybody thinks love is unconditional. And this is not true. This is something that, Western authors and ministers say to make the congregation give money. But love is very conditional. Very conditional. There's no such thing. There are certain things I must achieve within me, conditions that I must adhere to before I will have the direct experience of love. And that ain't pretty. We're you know how they make sausage? Nobody wants to see how they make sausage.
Right.
Okay, well, that's what the work is about, making sausage. You can't be insulted.
Right.
Not at all. It's the cause has got to be greater than the level of your insult.
Right.
You get what I mean, Sweet Bean?
I'm gonna meditate on it.
Okay.
Okay, so we've done over 220 Aspire programs, not even including the ones that we're doing now. And it was a big television. We were on broadcast down here in San Diego, and we were in Monterey area for a while. And you got lots of mail. You had all of this activity, lots of viewership. I mean, we got a lot of viewership at that point. But then at some point, we had to transition to an internet presence as opposed to a broadcast presence.
What happened was they stopped wanting to, Channel 6 they didn't want to do religion anymore.
They didn't want to open up the time.
So what happened was all those evangelists got their own satellite and
started, and you didn't want to take that crazy step.
No, I didn't want to be on that network.
Right.
No, I couldn't. They wouldn't have me anyway.
Okay. Then here's my last question. What's the difference between your ministry now versus your ministry then?
Now, I am intimate with a few of the people that are alive and left, and I can help them. I don't have a great big church to have to support. I don't take a lot for myself. I take what I need to live on, and that's it. And that's modest. And I get to do what I love, really love. And I don't have to think about, well, if I say this, well, Betty Lou and John Doe over there stop, supporting me.
Right. Well, good on you. Thank you for being here again today.
My honor. Thank you for having me.
Bye-bye.